All right, we're back. Sorry, we had a distraction. All right, so let's go back to the market. Now we're talking about this notion of array lists. Arrays store large volumes of data, and the memory that they use in contiguous memory blocks. So that means that if we begin to lay down many stocks next to each other, they'll be stored like in a gigantic apartment building full of data. And so we'll be able to move through that data very, very fast if we want to. And so the fact that we stored the market right up here, and why don't we make this public, means that we can also access that market. So why don't we make a, why don't we print the market right here. And what we'll do is we'll say, and I'm going to move quickly through this, but I'm going to say, for all the stock called ST inside the market, the system.out.print print line stock symbol is going to be st.symbol, right? Plus at price $sign st.price, and I will prove the contents of that market right here when I print the market. Now what's interesting here is this for loop is a little bit different than this for loop. This is going to be a regular for loop. And it gives emphasis on the iterator I. We can also call this the index I. And this is going to be an enhanced for loop. And it emphasizes movement through the array or array traversal. Traversal means, getting across something, like traverse a gigantic stream in the Yucatan, traversal. Now what's interesting about this market class is it provides this print market facility. So when we set up a new market, the first thing we could do is we could say market, print the market. And that's really convenient, and it falls together really nicely. So let's kind of go through this. Now you realize that I turned off the system out. So my proof is in this final system out right here, where I'm going to kind of prove that I added all the stocks to this market or this large listing. And now it's kind of coming out, and it's kind of listing all the players inside of my market. And so it's all kind of jumping out right there. So what I did this evening is first I enabled us to set up a symbol that is defined randomly. I did that by setting up set symbol, which I was calling upon a random number that I translated into letters. And then I returned that back to the calling function. And then I initialized the symbol using that set symbol method right there. And in order to do that, I introduced the first basic for loop. Now what I did is our main remains extremely small and simple. So I created a new market. And what I did is I created 6,000 new stocks, passing that as a parameter into my market constructor here in the market class, where I initialize size of market, which is going to be 6,000. And so then I set up another for loop where I said, okay, for all the, for the size of the market, which is an integer value, go ahead and create 6,000 new stocks. And naturally each stock has a symbol and a price and a IPO quantity, and it belongs to an industry. And so I added each of these stocks to my array list. Now an array list can be an array or a list of all sorts of things. Like it could be a list of strings or numbers or doubles. But you and I created this custom data structure called a stock. And so we made an array list of type stock. And so the stock is a class that you and I originated, that created on our own. And so now the market is really a data structure of stocks. And so one of the cool things that we can do with the market is we can add new stocks to it. And we can also, print the contents of that market. And so that's what we did here. And we're kind of showing off as we print that market right there. And so when we run that, these are all stocks. These are the couple thousand stocks that we created there with their initial pricing. So those are some important building blocks. Realize that the array list works together with the for loop like peanut butter and jelly. They're just built to work together, like Nutella and and peanut butter. They're just built. They're built to be together. They're built to be together. Like you're supposed to put a banjo in the back of a Ford F-150. Like these are they should give you a banjo whenever you purchase a Ford F-150. Like these two things just work together. So let me say this: whenever you're dealing with problems that have a lot of multiplicity, that have a lot of data that have to work together, try to make a custom class, and then try to make an array list of that class, and then use a for loop to traverse the huge collection of that class. And the array list has evolved over time to solve big data problems like this, and it keeps it temporarily. So for example, what's kind of cool about the for is that the life cycle of the for loop is very limited. So this stock is only created very limitedly. So when you create a variable like this, as a member variable to that class, you may only have one market, but this array list, and you don't need to call it market, you call it M. You call it what you want. That array list is going to survive after the for loop is finished. And that's important to note. So what you want to do is you want to create your collection beforehand, and then go ahead and talk to that collection. These are called collections. Talk to the collection while you're doing your for loop. And when you're done with your for loop, that collection should be there. And so you can iterate that collection or traverse it when you're done. And that's where the enhanced for loop comes in. The enhanced for loop notation is so simple that it's kind of hard to teach it, because students are like, what just happened? That was so easy. Nothing seemed to happen. But it's really there because Java has a great history of being expressive and being very readable and very fluid. And it's kind of the most popular programming language on earth. So if you guys wanted to leave my class and move to Thailand, there would be jobs in programming in Java in Thailand. I guarantee it. Or if you want to move to Vietnam, Vietnam software industry is going places. So if you wanted nice surf, good French food, Vietnam, go to Vietnam. A lot of Java in Vietnam. There's Java just about anywhere. So it's a very, very conversant, very global language. So here you're providing some very important, here let's run this. Here you're providing some very important building blocks to this assignment, because you're creating a market. So yeah, so that'll be our video.